Hello, everyone. This is Patrick Williams. I am excited to welcome you to the communications course for dental hygiene. Um, this part of the lecture, I'm going to take a look at the Blackboard page because, as you know, this is going to be a little bit different of a semester for us in regards to having this course online. While that was the goal for the future, most of the time this course has been in person. So this will give you an overview of where to locate items in the course and how to access them pretty quickly. It's pretty self-explanatory, fairly easy. Of course, I'm in the student view right now, but if you have any questions, you can always reach out via my email on the instructor portal, which I'll show you in a few minutes. Recap. Of course, my name is Patrick Williams. I have a master's in healthcare administration. I work in healthcare leadership currently. Pursuing a doctorate in business leadership. Should be done in 2021. Had a little bit of a snafu with the COVID recovery piece, so I've held off on taking classes for a month or two just to get through that. But I hope to jump back in just as you are in regards to learning and growing within your education. I work at Providence Medical Group in Olympia, Washington. I used to work in Seattle, Washington for Swedish Medical Group, but I transitioned there 3 months ago, and I'm currently the primary care director for the region. So I enjoy healthcare quite a bit. I get a lot out of it, and I enjoy the communication side of healthcare, which is why I enjoy teaching this course and helping you learn how to better communicate. And of course, that helps you in the long run as you explore further opportunities and take your education and your professional career to the highest level. To recap in regards to the lectures, they're usually only about 15 minutes because research, of course, shows when you hear someone talk for an extended period, you start to lose track of what was said. While these lectures are recorded, which is great, I think it's more beneficial to have a shorter one and then rely on you to take a look at the PowerPoints and the videos, which of course will be there to identify how to move forward. A little bit of time to preview the course. Of course, this is the Blackboard section of the course. So you have to click on your course in your Blackboard and you'll pull this up, the course communication and composition course, June 1st, 2020. The announcement page pops up. And of course, I'll list announcements here that you need to take a look at in regards to what could happen on a daily basis. Course syllabus page is listed below the announcement page, and it lists both your course syllabus and your course schedule. Let's pull up course syllabus really quick. I'm previewing, of course, from a MacBook, so it might look a little bit different than someone opening in Windows. So the course syllabus will have all your standard information in there, and then a method of evaluation, which is or mini assignments or quizzes, a midterm project, an APA project and presentation, which you'll learn more about in the future, weekly review items, which are listed as your PPS score, because of course this shows that you've actually done the work on a weekly basis, and of course finally your final exam. All other PIMA and dental hygiene pieces of importance in syllabus in your syllabus, of course, are highlighted here, and they're pretty standard. I'm not going to jump into the course schedule right now, but my anticipation is you'll take a look at it to make sure that you're on cue for things that are due. Course content page. This is where all the great information is. Of course, there are more weeks here, but I will open week 1 on Sunday of each week, and you'll be able to take a look at it. This is a little bit earlier in regards to recording, so some of the components will not be available yet, but I'll go over the gist of them. Week 1 presentation, of course, is going to be your PowerPoint. It's going to be in every week, unless we have a special project that week. So take a look at that, read through it, see what you think, and come up with some ideas. My recommendation is if you can print the PowerPoint off, print it off, take notes, and just look to better yourself from the information. that's gathered in it. Your week 1 review, this is going to be pretty much each week. You're going to have a review where you're going to write at least 200 words on a discussion post before Wednesday night. So you're going to take a look at the PowerPoint, listen to the lecture. Of course, week 1 is going to be a little bit different because it has me talking about the course, so you can talk about that in your review if you wish to do so. But you'll open this up, which is your week 1 review, and you'll create a thread, and that's going to be your initial post. Based on that, you'll have many students create threads, and of course that's 200 words in regards to your review of the chapter, which of course you're supposed to read every week, and that's highlighted in the course schedule. By Sunday of each week, you're supposed to reply to at least one student with your thoughts on their post, and then that's supposed to be a minimum of 50 words. So that's due every week, and that's part, of course, of your grade. Each week, on top of that, we'll have a couple of different videos, and there might be more uploaded throughout the week, but it goes over a kind of effective communication and different styles from people as we approach different chapters. And I think it's been really, really helpful for students to look at something other than just me as a lecturing individual and see how other people communicate effectively in their own means. So that's listed here as well. All right, on top of this, you can get to more information in the resource section, which I'll include some more links, some information on how to do your research project, of course, but more info to come there. And on the instructor page, you have, of course, my information and, of course, a younger picture. And then emails, which you'll have to pull out through accessing through your Gmail account for PIMA, which is totally fine. All right, let's take a look at the first week's communication PowerPoint. And of course, is really important to everyone, and I think it's important to learn as a course within your professional career. If you don't know how to effectively communicate, then I think in general you're just out of luck. People that communicate the best usually have the most success in life, and that's just a personal opinion of mine. I don't think you can rationale that to research, but effective communicators always gain higher altitude in their correspondence than others. So objectives, of course, throughout this PowerPoint and course is to look at the importance of communication, look at 4 basic communication skills, and that's just based on this PowerPoint, and then look at communication in our social, educational, professional, and personal life, and all of those are different in regards to how we communicate with each other. Communication, of course, as a definition, is the exchange of information, and I've already highlighted a favorable reputation piece and rapport when you communicate more effectively. So that's been kind of already discussed, but I think it's important to realize that there's a lot of truth to that statement. Here are your 4 basic communication skills. This is going to be, of course, a test question, pretty easy. So take a look at it. Speaking, listening, reading, and writing. Listening, of course, is still a communication skill. A lot of people forget that, but it's spot on. When people communicate, others listen. Probably heard that before. Super simple, but super important to remember. Some key terms. Communication, of course, you know what that is. Social media, I think everyone almost is involved with that nowadays. Cell phones, text messaging, which is, of course, a piece of communication. Applications, a lot of people communicate via apps, which is, of course, most of the time over your phone. Oral communication, which is verbal. Written, which is, of course, written. And then nonverbal, which is, of course, communicating by signals of facial expressions and, of course, using your hands and such. Some issues in regards to communication barriers, electronic interruptions, multitasking when you're doing more than one thing at once. Interpersonal communication, interpersonal communication, feedback, human relation skills. 3 main categories of communication, of course, are oral, written, and nonverbal. oral, written, and nonverbal. Take a look at this, kind of do a Google search in regards to these three versions of communication and see what you come up with. There's some barriers to communication. When I'm doing this presentation right now, I'm trying to communicate effectively with my audience, which is all of you on the other side listening to this video. But of course, I have physical distractions. I'm in my home. There's a lot of things going on that could distract me from the video. Emotional distractions, things going on outside of your thought process currently. Cultural and language differences. This happens quite often, especially in diverse situations. A lot of people speak differently. A lot of people act differently, and I can give them plenty of examples of this. But I'll leave it to you to take a look at in regards to what cultural and language barriers might exist in regards to differences. And of course, electronic interruptions. So some other factors that influence communication. So the background of the receiver, the appearance of the sender. Of course, if you don't appear to be ready, and if you're not highlighted in regards to the situation, then of course you can be looked down upon, or you can be looked at in regards to an ineffective communication style. Barriers that might negatively affect the intended message, so things going on outside of the current message. And then language and communication skills of the receiver. Let's talk about Maslow's human needs. It's really important. Of course, this is a diagram, as you might already be aware. So you have the highest level of needs and the basic needs. So basic, of course, would be physical security and social. So physical would be a home over your head, roof over your head, of course. Food, water. Security would be safety. Social would be interacting with others. Self-esteem would be your own interaction with yourself and your emotional needs. And then self-actualization would be, kind of your goals and your ambitions to highlight effectiveness. Really, really important. I hope as you'll take a look at this and explore further opportunities within Maslow's hierarchy of needs, because communication lies within this. How you communicate to people is important. So based on what is needed on Maslow's theory, how can you better communicate? How does some of the impacts of the basic needs sections impact our communication style to others who may be impacted in a different way based on this diagram? So take a look at that in response to your discussion posts and see what you might get out of it in regards to what your thoughts are in this diagram. Also, give your thoughts in regards to, is it effective now? Are there some components that are missing in this diagram? What's important in relation to what we need as students to better communicate with each other on a professional basis. So some responsibilities of the sender and the receiver. Of course, responsibilities are highlighted here. Evaluate the situation, understand your needs and receiver's needs, and apply interpersonal skills as a sender and as a receiver. It's kind of similar, but your actions are highlighted below, and I'm not going to go over each one, but you can take a look. It's pretty important in regards to just knowing the basis of effective communication. So what types of barriers interfere with communication? Include an example. This is something I would do with the students in the course face-to-face. But think about this. So as we highlight even further Maslow's hierarchy of needs, I think there's some important components to it that you should realize. And on top of that, how does this relate to communication? We've talked about this already a little bit, but I think this is an important component of your style and how things can be ineffective versus effective when you're communicating to others. Responsibilities, of course, of the sender and receiver are listed here. And this is something that I would go over in regards to the communication within the course when it was face-to-face. But what types of barriers interfere with your communication? This is something you could look at in relation to your discussion post, but it's not something that's necessary if you wish to do it on something else in week one's material. But I appreciate all of you listening in. I know this was a quick review of the PowerPoint, but I hope you got a lot out of it. We'll take a deeper dive in current information in upcoming weeks, but I appreciate all your efforts and look forward to working with you throughout this course. Thanks so much.